Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel. In this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first let's talk about the conflict on the territory Ukraine, where today the Ukrainians celebrate the day of their flag and tomorrow the Ukrainians celebrate the Independence Day. So these 2 days are very important for Ukraine. Of course, the most important thing for the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, as for president, to secure these 2 days and to make the situation when the Russians don't attack the territory Ukraine. We know that the Ukrainians don't have PAC-3 interceptors. Today we just received the report that the French authorities would provide the Ukrainians with air defense systems, but who knows when these missiles will arrive. So that is why Zelensky decided to use his famous tactics of human shield. And as of the morning of the 23rd of August of 2026, we know for sure that the leaders of the Western countries began arriving on the territory Ukraine. According to our information, American Senators James Lankford and Richard Blumenthal have arrived in Kyiv. Today they will participate in a prayer breakfast together with Kellogg, who also arrived on the territory Ukraine. So these are the representatives of the United States of America. Furthermore, this morning we received the report that Lithuanian president has arrived in Kyiv as well, and just a few minutes later we received the report that leaders of Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Latvia and Norway have arrived in Kyiv as well. So these people will ensure the security of the capital Ukraine, and the Western countries, the Western leaders, as well as the president Ukraine Zelensky, believe that the Russians will not attack the capital Ukraine during these days, just with the purpose to reduce the pressure and not to give, let's say, the right, political right to Western countries and Western leaders to approve additional help to Ukraine, including PAC-3 interceptors. So this is the situation, but this is not the most important question. The most important question whether the Ukrainian side will hold strikes, because now Zelensky has a human shield, and of course during these days between the 23rd and during the 23rd and between the 23rd and the 24th of August of 2026, he may try to attack deep inside of the territory of Russia, because he knows that the Russians will not retaliate, at least during the 24th or 23rd of August of 2026. And as of the current situation, we see that something is happening on the territory of Russia. For example, during the night between the 22nd and 23rd of August of 2026, at least 2 interesting episodes were recorded. First of all, this morning, during the night, more precisely, somewhere around at 1 or 2 a.m. of the 23rd of August of 2026, we start receiving updates from the territory of the city of St. Petersburg. There is a very big logistic area to the south of the settlement. We're talking about this territory. And according to information we have, something happened on the territory of this warehouse, and as a result of this something, a fire broke out, as you can see, a very big one, and this warehouse was reduced to ruins. So this territory was destroyed, but the sources reported that there were no strikes, so no drones were recorded over the city of St. Petersburg. So one thing is clear: either this is just an accident or a sabotage and reconnaissance operation. Sabotage operation was carried out by the Ukrainian side, and as a result of this sabotage operation, one of the biggest warehouses was destroyed on the territory of the city of St. Petersburg. As of now, the Russians didn't comment the situation, but the most important thing that lots of updates on this matter were published by pro-Ukrainian sources. The second episode took place to the east of the city of Moscow. We are talking about the settlement of Orenburg, and the sources reported that this morning several drones were recorded in this area. The sources reported that drones attacked, the Ukrainian drones attacked a warehouse, the biggest warehouse on the territory of this part of Russia, but the drones, either there were not so many drones attacking the territory, or the Russians managed to repel this attack and to destroy everything that was approaching. Anyway, this is one of the biggest warehouses on the territory of Russia belonging to one enterprise. Later, pro-Ukrainian sources published this picture, this analysis, and according to analysis today, they attacked the biggest warehouse of a company that provides different services with warehouses and many other different things. So something happened between the 22nd and the 23rd of August of 2026, but with the minimal damage. So as of now, it's very difficult difficult to say how the things are going to develop during the 23rd and the 24th of August of 2026, but once again, there are very high chances that the Ukrainian Zelensky may use the situation to attack Russia, and believing that there would be no retaliation from the Russian side. As of the previous night, between the 22nd and 23rd of August of 2026, the Russians also reduced the number of drones involved in the overnight attacks. The Minister of Defense of Ukraine reported that 127 drones were recorded over the territory of Ukraine, and 97 of them were intercepted. As for the damage, the sources reported that the damage was minimal. Furthermore, as for the previous 12 hours, we received just lots of updates about previous attacks. If you remember, between the 19th and the 22nd of August of 2026, the Russians were mainly attacking the eastern parts of the Kyiv agglomeration. Lots of explosions during this period of time were recorded through the settlements of Boryspil, Orikhiv, and Brovary. The Russians were attacking warehouses and logistics in this area, and this morning we start receiving fresh pictures confirming the damage the Russians managed to deal. For example, in these videos, we can see the comparison before and after attack. For example, this is the facility that was attacked by Russians, and as you can see, at least this part of this big warehouse was completely reduced to ruins. So these are the changes between the dates before, and this is the situation after strike. Another facility was damaged by Russians to the north of the settlement of Boryspil. We're talking about this warehouse, and we also have a map where we can see the changes. So this is this facility before and after the attack. So as you can see, this warehouse was badly damaged, at least this small part. Not the entire warehouse was destroyed, as you can see, just partially damaged, but the Russians most likely will return to this warehouse in coming days, weeks, or months. And the Russians, according to information we have, destroyed this fuel depot, completely wiped out, and the Russians damaged this warehouse. And these are the changes between the dates. This is before strike and this is after strike. As you can see, up to 40% of this construction were wiped out, but still 60% could be used by the Ukrainians for logistic purposes. So these are the changes before and after strikes, and telling the truth, nothing more about the city of Kyiv. Zelensky uses the human shield tactics, and as of the morning of the 23rd of August of 2026, we see that this tactics works. During the previous 12 hours, so lots of explosions and attacks were recorded through the Odesa region. This night we received several videos where we can see explosions and where we can see a fire broke out right after the Russians attacked the territory of the region. The sources reported that the Russians were attacking an electrical substation in the village of Sauvignon, Odesa region. Furthermore, we received some numbers. The sources reported, the pro-Ukrainian sources reported that since last night in Odesa and its surrounding areas, the Ukrainians have recorded strikes of ground drones more than 80 units, Banderol missiles more than 21 units, Ha-59 missiles 5 units, Ha-31 missiles just one, and as you can see, lots of missiles were used by Russians, and the most important that during the previous 24 hours the Russians used around 20 bombs. So this is something new when talking about the Odesa region. We see that the Ukrainians don't have air defense systems or forces that are capable to destroy these bombs, and if the Russians began using bombs, this means that the infrastructure of the entire Odesa region would be wiped out without any chances to save it. Furthermore, this morning we received a video from the settlement of Razdolna, and today we received the video where we can see the destructions on the territory of the railway station. So this facility, as you can see, was also destroyed by Russians as a result of attacks. The Russians were using drones and Banderol missiles to attack the territory, and as you can see, this facility was badly damaged. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation on the ground. During the previous 12 hours, we haven't received changes, but we received lots of very interesting updates. And first, let's talk about the Orikhiv direction. The Russians, according to different sources, and the most important, according to pro-Ukrainian sources, have entered the southeastern parts of the settlement. And right now, the even pro-Ukrainian sources rejecting this information. They stopped denying this information. And furthermore, pro Russian sources published this video, and in this video we can see how the Russians have carried out a mass drop of propaganda leaflets over Ukraine positions in Orikhiv. The final is near. That was stated by this source. The leaflets urged Ukrainian soldiers to surrender with the message, surrender now, no one will wait for latecomers. So this is a very important situation because the Russians are forcing the Ukrainians to surrender, because it seems that the battle for the city of Orikhiv will over very soon, much faster, much sooner than can be expected. In coming days we are waiting for additional changes. Furthermore, we start receiving additional reports from pro-Ukrainian sources and from the settlement of Dobropillia. The pro-Ukrainian sources also stopped denying the critical situation around the settlement, and today, probably on the 23rd of August of 2026, for the first time since the beginning of the conflict on the territory of Ukraine, pro-Ukrainian sources began confirming that the situation around the city is critical, that the Russians managed to take under control the villages of Rodinska, Belitska, and that the Russians and first Russian soldiers were recorded around the settlement itself. So this is another important thing, that the Ukrainians began accepting the situation and the reality around the city of Dobropillia, and it seems that the battle for this territory will end much sooner and much faster than anyone can expect as well. As for the other directions, during the previous 12 hours we haven't received anything special. There are very heavy clashes, but probably due to these holidays that take place between the 22nd and 24th of August of 2026, we see that both the Russians and the Ukrainians reduced their activities. I would like to remind that Russians celebrated the day of their national flag yesterday on the 22nd of August of 2026, and today and tomorrow the Ukrainians celebrate similar holidays. Today the Ukrainians celebrate the day of their flag, and tomorrow the Ukrainians celebrate their Independence Day. As for the previous day, as for the Russian holiday, the president of Russia made lots of very interesting statements. Putin said that attempts to defeat Russia through 40 days of missile and drone strikes was an adventure. To no turning point in the confrontation with Russia has come from Ukraine strikes. Russia increased strikes on Ukrainian enterprises in response to Ukrainian strikes on Russian civilian targets. Russia's retaliatory strikes are more devastating than Ukraine's strike on Russia. Russian troops have increased their pace of advance, confidently accomplishing the objectives of the special military operation. Russia's response to Kyiv's provocations is proving painful, catastrophic trends emerging for the regime. Proposals receiving from the Kyiv regime are at the times exotic and unacceptable. The Russians stated that they will continue the conflict with the Ukrainian side until they achieve or accomplish their objectives. And that's it for the short video. The Military Summary channel reminds you to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for your watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.